Hey everybody, welcome back to the Unfiltered Coffee Podcast. Today with me I've got Florida Man Brewing, aka FMB, and the owner, one of the founders of the company, Eric Flowers. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Eric, and say hi.
Hello, I'm Eric, just like he said.
Yes, this is Eric.
I'm the beer guy.
He's the beer man. Eric, go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself and FMB as a whole. Give us as much information as you'd like or as little as you'd like.
I've been in hospitality for a very long time. I found myself especially behind a bar. I've always really loved beer and always really loved wine. I worked at a winery out in Oregon, which was a lot of fun. I learned I love the hands-on approach more than people. And eventually I'm like, you know what? Wine takes a very long time to make. I love good wine, but it takes too long. Beer is much more satisfying because I can have beer in as little as 3 days.
Really? That's how long it takes?
Not normally. Most of the time it takes a few weeks.
Okay.
But there are circumstances where you can have beer in 3 days. There's a very fun strain of yeast, the Cuvette family. Don't ask me to spell that. I can't spell. But it's a pseudo lager, and it doesn't matter really how hot it gets. It won't throw off too many off flavors, and that thing will ferment so fast, and you can have stuff done ready 3 days later. It's incredible.
That's crazy. Tell us more about you. You've lived all across the country. You've done a lot of things, and you're a well-versed man.
I pretend very well. I born in Orlando, good old homeboy here. Got a job after college. Moved up to way upstate New York in Lake George, New York. It was a lot of fun. Worked for that company for a few years. They moved me around every 6 months, so I lived up in New York, down here on the beach in Sarasota. Then went back to Bar Harbor up in Maine, which I know you just went there.
I have a sweatshirt on right now that says Bar Harbor.
Great place.
Fantastic.
A lot of fun. Too cold.
Yes. People work there like seasonally, don't they?
Oh yeah, I was basically seasonal, but I was full time. But they moved me between properties between seasons, because like up in New England was big hop into late spring, summer, and early fall. Down in Florida on the beach, the complete opposite, because snowbirds are a thing, which now I understand. End of fall, winter, and early spring.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
moving sucks though.
Is that like pretty much like where you've lived, or
Then I lived in Oregon for a while as well. I was working here in Orlando as a AGM of a restaurant. Overworked, underpaid. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I do.
I was like, I'm done. It's wine season. Said fuck it, put my notice in. Didn't have a job, didn't have anything. I'm like, I'm gonna go to Oregon. The day before I packed up and left, I got a job, which was
that works out
honestly
perfectly.
Oh my god, it was, you don't even understand. It was the best thing ever. They had a house on the winery that I could live in.
Yeah.
They paid me, it was enough to live. I was spending more money because I was living, but I lived in a house for basically free as long as I was working 40 to 60 hours a week for a few weeks, then took a week off because they were slow. This wine is very interesting because there's time where when it's not in season, you need 4 people working to run everything. When it's in season, you need about 40. So there's a lot of seasonal work in that as well.
Were you like a picker or were you like a server?
Neither. I was working in processing.
Okay.
So I didn't harvest the grapes. I did a little like for testing and stuff like that, but nothing like true harvesting. But everything, as soon as the grapes were picked, from turning it into a wine, everything else. So like sorting, pump overs, push downs, pressing, cleaning, always cleaning, doing the 5-step to clean all the big vats and stuff. So like they were huge, as in I would climb in them and then clean them.
That's got to be terrifying.
It was definitely terrifying because if the door closed, you ain't getting out. You are not opening it from the inside. You're fucked.
So is it true that like people like mash grapes with their feet?
So when you're doing with your feet, you're actually not. The purpose of that is not to actually mash.
What is it? If you don't mind sharing, if like an insider.
So actually, what you're doing is called a push down. So when wine ferments, usually it's an open container. Fermentation creates CO2. CO2 pushes all the seeds, the stems, and the peels to the top, and it creates a hard layer. That hard layer on top is very susceptible to bacteria, and then that bacteria is bad for the wine. But alcohol kills that bacteria. So what you're doing is you're pushing it down. You're giving a little bit of oxygen to the yeast so it doesn't die early, and you're mixing in the alcohol over everything, so it's killing any bad bacteria on the top. you're actually not squishing the grapes. The grapes are already squished.
Right.
You're not doing any of that. Like, there's none of that. And I did it once. It's okay. It sucks, but those stems are sharp, and you'll be poked all over the legs.
I'm sure it's a weird sensation too to be stepping on cold, wet grape.
Oh yeah, it was like 55 degrees when I was doing it, man. It was cold, and like it was weird because I was in a big vat. Like if I wasn't holding the side, I could have fell in and possibly drowned.
Okay,
it's like
it's a big fucking vat, yeah.
Like the winery I worked at was Illahee, in Salem, Oregon.
Yeah.
Small winery, but not small, but not big.
Okay.
They're bigger now. I think at the time they did like 30,000 cases of wine a year. I think it was.
That is, to me, that knows a thing about wine. Like that's incredible.
It's not boutique, but it's not like anything big. Like you hear of J. Lore or something like that. They're doing millions of cases.
Holy shit! So, tell us about FMB because you went from doing like tons of different work into starting your own company. FMB is a beer company for you guys listening that don't really know. It's a pretty, I would say, it's rapidly growing, substantially sized for almost being a year in. Yeah.
So it started as most things do, as a joke in a bar. I met my 3 partners. I was a bartender. They were 3 patrons. We were good friends. It started as a joke. They're like, "Oh, you homebrew? We should make a brewery." Okay. A little bit. We discussed the name, Florida Man Brewing. That's hilarious. And surprisingly, with a quick Google search, no one had it. So we're like, fuck it, let's do it. Got the domain, got everything rolling. I had a first product. Our first one was the Double Wide Trailer. It's a double West Coast IPA.
It's fantastic.
I'm a sucker for a West Coast IPA. It has a bunch of local Florida honey in it, which gives it that little extra boost.
Yeah.
So it's not your normal easy double. It's going to be closer to that 10% line, which will definitely smack you in the face.
Yeah, I remember going to the bar and you guys had it on tap for a little bit, and I had like 1 or 2, and I was like, Eric, I need like a glass of water, dude. Like I'm feeling this, man. It's a good beer. It's really good.
I believe it. Yeah, it'll definitely sneak up on you. That had 1 test batch for that. Everyone fell in love with it. It just came out literally perfect. It was one of the few recipes where I didn't really tweak much on it. It was perfect. Got a deal with a distributing company called Sunshine Distributing. Now they actually just got bought out by Greenlight. So a new company called Greenlight is our distro, which is quite fun. If you want to buy beer, buy from them.
Yes. Support Eric. I mean, his beers are fantastic, and like he does more than beer. From what I've heard now is what you're developing more like a like a range of SKUs and like products, right?
Correct. We've had 4 products out currently. We had 2. We have all year round. We've had 2 seasonal. Our first seasonal was a graham cracker vanilla stout. It was called Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, which is really fun. That came out last year. Don't have any more of that, unfortunately. Our new seasonal currently is called One Pint in Bangkok.
That is fucking hilarious.
I love it. Tim, my partner, definitely came up with the names. He is a very good name master on that. It is a Thai tea red ale. Quite fun. Has a little lactose that brings some subtle sweetness, a little that milky flavor, but very tea forwardness. It's a really fun beer. Really fun beer. It's
impressive that you like ran out of beer so fast. You know what I mean? Because like you had a seasonal, and like most times like people like with seasonals for coffee example, you gotta start sourcing like releasing your Christmas blend or like your holiday blend or your whatever blend, or even just single origin like your special coffee. Like probably like in late October, early November, sort of to sell out by the end of December, but you end up with still more inventory, which is kind of like, it's really impressive to see you guys like fly through it in about like 2 months.
There's ways to do it. So like we don't have an actual brewing location to make our beer ourselves, so we're actually paying someone else to make it currently. We're using a bunch of different other breweries to basically use their facilities. Makes our life easier, less overhead, and we can focus on making good beer and finding the right location, which hopefully we'll have one by the end of this year.
Right.
So, like, for the seasonals, we're using Windermere Brewing, which has a very smaller system. It's a 7-barrel system. So we're making either 7 barrels or 14 if we can push it, which is nice. So smaller batches help as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you have more control over smaller batches, I'd assume, too, when you're making, like, tons and tons of different beer. I mean, it's probably more beneficial for you guys to do bigger batches, but you guys have a lot. You have Keys in the Bowl, you got the Double Wide, you have the Mai Tai, or the One Night in Bangkok, and you have the what's it called?
Grandma.
Grandma, yeah. So, and you guys are working on a seltzer now, aren't you?
We are working on a seltzer, but we also have a peep sour in the works. That should be going in tanks in like a week.
That's so cool.
I'm very excited about this. Who doesn't love peeps?
I love
Everyone
I used to
loves
love
peeps.
getting peeps.
And if you say you don't, you're a liar. It's just a marshmallow.
Yeah, it's a sugar-coated marshmallow. And if you don't like those two things, then why are you eating it in the first place?
No, because you're a liar. It's marshmallow. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves peeps. They're just the liars, and they're better when they're a little stale. You open the bag and it's dumb.
You think so?
Yes, you open the bag and leave on the counter for a day. Come back the next day, it's
like a little crunchy.
Better. A little bit, a little more chewy, but but the flavor is more accentuated.
You ever made like a s'more with a peep? I feel like that'd be pretty good.
That would be amazing.
I bet it'd be fucking
but
great.
Now I kind of want to.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So, we got some questions from Instagram. So, first one is, what is your favorite beer? Not that you have, or not that everyone's heard of. I guess is the question. Is what's your favorite beer that I guess a lot of people want to be put on to?
That's a hard question because my beer preference changes like the wind and the seasons. When it's really cold out, I do like the bigger, bolder, heavier stuff. When it's hot, like a Florida hot summer day, I'm not trying to drink a big imperial stout.
Right.
I like the Kolsch's and the light lagers. Always been a fan of lagers, specifically the light, easy stuff, because they're some of the harder stuff to make.
Right. Less is more. You know what I mean?
That and there's nothing to hide behind. So there's not you're not throwing a bunch of other stuff to hide the bad off flavors.
Right.
So if you're making a light, easy lager, it's easy to fuck it up because you could have all the bad flavors, or it doesn't lager long enough. It's just not crisp, not refreshing. And
also, it's like you're using way less ingredients. From my understanding too. So if you do it well, it shows through really well. But if you're doing a poor job, then it's just a reflection, or not even a poor job. If you're doing like a mid-grade, or even you miss one of those 3-4 steps, you mistime it or do anything like that, it shows really, really fast.
And that's when I ever go to a new place, I'll try a lager first, just kind of get a feel of what I'm drinking.
You put me on to Hefeweizens and Kolsch, and
love Kolsch.
When I went to Maine, I sort of got, not to interrupt you, but when I went to Maine, I had this one beautiful Oktoberfest Hefeweizen, and it was it was one of the best beers I've ever had.
Fantastic.
It was almost like orange in color, but it was still transparent, and it was so flavorful. I was we just got off the plane. We just sat down at this brewery outside, and they had those little heaters on you.
Do you remember what brewery it was?
Off the top of my head, I don't, but it was on a river. So okay. I know there's a ton of rivers in Portland, Maine, or not Portland, excuse me, Bangor, Maine. It might have been Bangor Brewing Company. Now I'm thinking of it.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, they had kind of like Hourglass does. They had 40-ish taps on.
Love that.
And when I asked the guy what he liked, and he was like, "You have to have this one."
Good.
So you put me on to actually lighter beers, because for the longest time when I first got into beer, I was into the Dunkel stouts, or the imperial stouts and the porters and all these heavier beers. And now that I'm I don't want to say more evolved into my beer game, I kind of like the easier stuff, just because you can have a couple, you know what I mean? With a stout, it's really
sessionable.
Heavy. Yeah, it's sessionable. Yeah, as Brian says. Shout out to you, Brian.
So yeah, it's hard to pick one. I can appreciate all beer styles. There's certain styles I'm not a fan of. I'm never gonna pick a brown ale for myself.
No, I don't like brown ales.
I found a couple that I'm this is a great beer. But if I'm picking out beer, it kind of depends on my mood. If I see a Kolsch, I'm probably gonna always pick that over anything else. If I see Schwarzbier, I love me Schwarzbier. Good black lager. Have darker looking color beer, looks big and bold, malty forward but light bodied, usually very crisp, easier drinking. It just depends. We have Hourglass has an imperial stout coming out next week. It's one of my favorite beers I make. It's a barrel aged imperial stout, chocolate, vanilla, cherry, and coffee. Yeah,
that sounds really good.
It's so good.
It sounds like a treat.
It's so good.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the other thing too with heavier beers. They're typically higher ABV.
Yeah.
And I used to drink really heavy, but now that I'm a little bit older and I don't really do that shit anymore.
A little older.
I'm a couple years older when I used to get fucking hammered, dude. Give me a break. I'm 26. I'm not 10. Fucking. So I mean, I don't know. I used to really like the heavier beers because they did the job. Dragon's Milk, for example. It's the worst example I could give.
That's not a bad example. For what it is, it's a great beer.
It's a 15% beer if you guys don't know. It's a stout, and it
easily
hits you.
accessible, which is awesome. Like, they're doing a great job because they're getting the product out to the people that want it. But the problem is you got to support the smaller stuff. Like
Yeah,
the half-barrel projects and the super small breweries, because they make some really great stuff.
Yeah.
And you won't know until you go try it.
So what, I guess on that note, what's your favorite beer that you've had from like a smaller local company without, like putting someone in the spotlight? Like what's a good beer you can remember?
I can't remember beer names because people are
There's
so creative
many,
with names. I can remember styles. I remember Toll Road over in Ocoee has a really amazing Schwartz beer.
Yeah.
The vibe always there is great over there. They always have great food trucks, but that Schwartz beer is magical. They also do a black IPA, which is fantastic. Another style you don't see very often.
What the hell is a black IPA?
Looks like a Schwartz beer, so black in color.
Okay.
So very malt forward, but
Right.
lots of hops that bring it back on the back end.
That's fair.
So not your traditional IPA. It's a style that you don't see very often.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say I've never even heard of that. Like that's.
I mean,
that's actually
have you ever heard of like a milkshake IPA?
No.
Thank God. I'm glad that style's over
I've never
with.
heard of a milkshake IPA. I've heard of a
is
milkshake stout, and
It's
I'm like,
disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I will probably never make one of those because they're disgusting.
a la carte in Orlando has a couple really good selections from a ton of breweries, and I remember for Oktoberfest, I'm a big Oktoberfest beer
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
Like that's like my favorite time of year to go get a beer. It's
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
Oktoberfest.
Some of the best stuff you can get.
Yeah, I swear to God. And like we went over there and we had I got a burger and I got this oh my God, it was a Dunkelstout, and like it was really dark, but like I didn't expect to like it, but I tried like a sip of it as a sample. It was just sweet. Like sweet,
yeah.
no bitterness, like just tons of body, tons of flavor.
That's awesome.
And it was amazing, and that's probably one of my favorite beers I've had. The, a la carte also had a sour, which I used to be really big into sours a couple years ago, but I kind of lean away from now because like they're a little bit too sugary.
Love sours, but I'm getting old and now I get heartburn.
Yeah, I was gonna say they give me the same problem. Like IPAs and sours the same way, kind of give me like not anxiety, but like heartburn.
That too.
Anxiety comes with the heartburn, yeah. Because I'm like, am I gonna be sick? But yeah, a la carte had this one sour, and it was supposedly gonna taste like Skittles.
I remember that one.
And it was actually really good.
It was good. I couldn't do a lot of it because I'm old and
It's very
heartburn,
sweet. Yeah, it came in a
but
tall boy. It was very
It
good.
was good. I remember that. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff. Like,
I've seen a beer that literally is like, it tastes like fucking Gushers. Like the inside of the Gushers like gummy.
weirdest beer I've ever had. I do remember this. I'll never forget it. It's called Wormhole. It's from D3.
Okay.
It is a wild sour
Okay.
with coffee, spearmint, and lime.
That sounds like a
Trust me, I know.
I can see it working.
It's one of those things you're like, that there's no way that's going to be good. I have to try it. It's one of those like, this is a train wreck. I can't look away. I'm going to try this.
I guess I could see the coffee and lime working together.
But spearmint.
No.
So it was fucking wild. So like oh, I forgot to tell you, it was 15%.
15% as a sour, a wild sour?
Yes. So when you had a
Oh
sip,
my
the
God.
first sip was coffee, smack in the mouth coffee, nothing else. Okay, cool. The coffee slowly resides. Then all of a sudden you get lime, not mixing, but just then you get lime. Cool. Actually, that's really nice to follow it. Palate cleanser. Then it goes away, and then spearmint comes out. I don't know how the hell they did it, where each flavor was pronounced and came in waves.
It was like separated, yeah.
It was magical. I don't understand how they did it. It was real. It was so much fun. Could I drink more than 5 ounces?
No.
But it was a really fun, wild beer. I'll never forget it.
Do you like liquor?
Yeah.
Like spirits, I should say. Liquor
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
fucking dirty.
Liquor's fun.
Yeah, it does the job, right?
It does.
Like,
I enjoy it. Bourbon.
yeah.
Love bourbon.
I'm more
Gin
of a
is
darker
one of my
guy.
favorites
Oh
for
my
mix
fuck.
for any cocktails.
I hate gin.
You'll learn it eventually.
No, I went through
That's
my gin
adorable.
phase
You'll
in
learn it
college.
eventually.
It makes me sick, dude.
That's cute. I was rum in college, and it makes me sick. But then you have a well-made cocktail with it. Okay, that's enjoyable.
I will say one of my favorite gins that I have had recently, like in the past like year, is like the Beefeater strawberry gin. It's a very shitty gin, but like I had just like a gin and tonic with it, and it was really good. It's pink.
Interesting.
It's
I
really
haven't
pink.
had that one.
Yeah, I saw it on a cruise once in the casino, and I was like, that looks good. And I went to a bar like outside the place
Get
we were.
gin-based cocktails. Don't do straight gin.
No,
And
gin
don't
by
do,
itself
like,
is horrible.
Like do the classic cocktails, like your aviations and your stuff like that, where it's fun and the bartenders actually can get crafty.
Right, they can get a little adventurous because gin is like very flavorful. I can respect the flavor profile of gin. It's all botanicals.
Oh yeah.
Like I like myself like scotch, like whiskey, bourbon,
tequila. Love me some tequila.
I love
good tequila.
What's the dark tequila called? It's not reposado.
Anejo.
Yeah, anejo. Yeah, I like that. And then I like mezcal.
Oh, mezcal, so much
mezcal
fun.
is fantastic.
Fact, mezcal, any cocktail you make with bourbon, you can make with mezcal, and it's gonna be fantastic.
Yep.
A little on the smoky side, but it'll be really.
I love scotch just because that peat smoke, like that.
Not all scotches are peaty. There's.
I know. I'm just saying, like some of the scotches that I typically like drink are
is
like
it 7 or 6, or is it 9? I don't know. There's something like that. Different places in Scotland that produce different types of scotch.
Right.
So you got that like Islay and God, I'm so old. I don't remember.
You're so old. You're like 30.
I don't. It's been a while since I was a real bartender where I have to remember this stuff. But like each one has their own like big pronounced notes. Like some of them are real smoky.
Right.
Some of them are lighter, even more delicate and stuff like that. Like there's one. It's made on like I think it's the east side of Scotland. No, the west side of Scotland, like on the ocean. You're getting like that salty,
like the spray of the ocean.
Really fun.
Yeah, I mean, like I would like to say that I enjoy like spirits, like in mixed drinks, but like ultimately, like when I'm drinking stuff, like the only mixed drinks I really like are like old fashions or Manhattan.
Oh yeah, those are great. I'll drink those all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a beer and wine guy. Like if I never drank liquor again, I wouldn't be sad.
Yeah, I mean that's my point on it. Like I rarely, I wouldn't even say I have purchased liquor in the past 2-3 years. I think I'll order like a drink every now and again that has it when I'm out like celebrating something, but for the most part I'm just a beer guy.
Oh yeah.
I would rather take like a, sounds stupid and generic, but like I'd rather take like a Bud Light or like a classic domestic beer over like a liquor drink.
Yeah. And like I feel wine and beer pair so much better with food.
I would agree.
It can accentuate food. Like having a good glass of wine is magical. Having a good glass of wine that pairs correctly with food, it takes you to another level. The best book I ever was recommended and I ever bought, $30 on Amazon. What to Eat with What You Drink. It is a pairing book for wine. The first half of the book, it has wine, and you look up your wine. It tells you what food to make with it.
Yeah.
The second half of the book is what food you have, and it tells you what to pair with wine.
That is perfect.
So much fun.
That sounds like a really good book. You said it's called What to
Eat with What You Drink.
What to Eat with What You Drink. Okay, I need to actually look that up myself.
It's so much fun, and it's easy way to do. It's pairing made simple. Like some of the easy pairings. Get you some good like champagne. Doesn't have to be expensive. $30 bottle of champagne, or even cheaper.
Yeah.
Fried chicken.
Really?
Yes.
I can see it.
Shit,
I can see like
good.
the saltiness and the greasiness, and
yes.
compared like with the
and
sweetness
the small
and the bubbles.
Oh yeah. It's
that
so good. It's so good. One of the best pairings you can ever have.
Just getting fucked up, drinking champagne, eating fried chicken.
I love wine. I've worked at some nice places where I've got to try some really nice wine that I could never afford.
That's how I felt about the Generous Pour when I went to Capitol Grill. Like, you put me onto that. Like, they had some of the most incredible wines I've ever had in my entire life, and you got 7
wasted.
of them. I got destroyed. But I remember all the flavors of those wine because, like, first 4 were whites, and then my server was really cool. Whoever you are, like, thank you so much if you're listening. I doubt you are, but like, that guy was so cool. Like, he was like talking to me about the wine. Yo, that's Eric's first beer ever. But yeah, the Capitol Grill, like I was like talking about all the wines. Like the first 4, like I typically don't like whites, and he was like, "Well, if you don't like white wine, you're gonna love these." And he brought me out some red after the first 4 that I had. Not to say that white wines are bad; they're just not my preference. They're way too sweet. The red wines for me are like, that's it. Like a Merlot or like
now it's Merlot.
Merlot. Sorry, you're right. You're Merlot. Yeah, we had a couple of those, and like I had a steak, and he was like, if you like these 2 wines, I was on number 5 of 7 at that point. He brought me out 2 more, and he was like, these are on me, I'm paying for this. It's like, I want you to have these. So I had probably 9 glasses of wine in the span of, in the span of like an hour and a half.
$30 or something. It's such a good deal.
It's like $35 for like 7 glasses, like full pours of wine, and like it's some of the best wine you're ever gonna get. And they're like, if you want one of like, if you came in and you know what you want, and you wanted 7 glasses of that one wine, they'd give you the whole bottle and just be like, go for it.
Yeah.
And like those bottles are like $200. Some of them were
okay not at restaurant buying price,
right?
But at customer price,
like
buying,
retail
yes,
value.
Absolutely. It's a great deal. It starts in like August or September or something like that.
I want to say we went in September this
It's
year. Like, it was like one of the
something
last
like that.
weekends we were doing it, and like we went to go see you at Hourglass, and you're like, you have to get this.
Yeah, because they do, what is it, generous pour, and they do what is it when they do like entree, app, and a dessert for like $30 or
Yeah.
magical dining,
Magical
dining,
yeah.
and that like are around the same time.
It's so crazy. Like, that's such a good value.
Great deal. Oh
Such
my
a
God,
good
it's
value.
Great date night. If you need a date night, that's a great place.
I'm gonna go back sometime soon.
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
when they start doing generous pour again, because it was so good. Like, in full disclosure, yes, I was fucking wasted. I literally went in when the sun was up. I don't remember walking back to the car. I woke up at home. My wife drove, for anyone concerned. And I went to sleep at like 7:45 at night. The sun was still out when I got home.
Yep.
So Eric, let's move on to the next question. Do you play music?
Do I play music?
Yeah. Have you ever played music, or like do you?
In like middle school, yes.
Yeah.
I did like percussion. I played the violin for a year because of school and whatnot. But otherwise, I wish I had more time to. But when I got to high school, I wanted to do other things like sports and other after school clubs. I just didn't have time.
I really would love to like actually like learn to play an instrument. But,
Oh
like,
yeah, I wish.
the only thing I've ever played is like the fucking French horn in like middle
That's
school.
cute.
It was
The
cute.
French horn.
That's actually how Madeline and I met. Is we met in band class.
Oh my God.
In sixth grade.
That's adorable.
Yeah, she played the clarinet and I played the fucking French horn.
I can see that.
I was terrible at it. I like literally would go out of instead of like trying to learn, I would try to like figure out ways to like not have to be good at it and like just not play because I just didn't want to do it because I thought it was an easy class. When I took it as a kid and I was like, wow, this is not easy. I was like, fuck this.
Pretend.
Yeah, I'll pretend. I'll fake it. If I took the half the
I
amount of
understand
effort,
that.
it's like foreign language for me. Like if I took half the amount of energy I spent like trying just to pass the class to actually learn the stuff,
I wish.
I would have done so much better.
I wish. I learned Spanish.
I wish I would've learned
3 years
Spanish, dude.
of Spanish in high school. Guess what? You know how much I remember?
None.
I know enough to know if you're talking shit about me.
Yeah, brother, I don't
I
even
know most of the curse words because I worked in restaurants for a long time.
I don't even know how to like describe this to you. Like this
What?
is this level of shame. My neighbor growing up, 2 of my neighbors. One of them was from Colombia. He was my friend Johnny, and he was a little bit younger than I was. And then my directly across the street neighbor, he was Mr. Mejia, bro. He was my Spanish teacher in high school.
That's awesome.
And I never fucking tried to learn Spanish. And like I really wish I did.
I know.
And I went to college, I took German, and like that shit was fucking hard.
I took 1 year of Italian in college.
You took Italian?
Yeah. It was
Oh my god.
dope. I actually studied abroad in Italy. I saved up a bunch of money and spent more than that doing it, but it was the best experience of my life. I spent almost a month in Italy.
That's crazy.
Magical. That's where I actually fell in love with wine.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a good place to fall in love with wine.
God, we were in Florence. The class I was taking for the month, it was over summer. It was called Italian Food and Wine Culture.
Oh my god, that is
so
the best
we had
shit to
8
do,
hours
really.
of class, 4 days a week, and we were learning how to make classic Italian, like homemade, like fresh pasta,
Yeah.
like everything. And then we'd have a wine class where we would drink wine and then talk about it and learn about the grapes and all that stuff.
And like fermentation and
Oh,
all that
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it's so cool.
Not as much fermentation, but more of a culture, like what makes the wine, like what types of grapes go into it, what's the difference between an IGT and a DOCG.
You're speaking foreign language to me again. That's
So-
the Italian coming out.
In Italy, you have 4 different denominations of wine. You have table wine, you have IGT, you have DOC, and you have DOCG. DOCG is the highest, I wouldn't say level, because it doesn't mean it's better than the others. It just means it's harder to be, so there's more classifications. So you have to do, like, you have to have certain standards to beat this.
Okay.
So, like, it has to be grown in a certain region, it has to be a certain amount of this grape or this grape, and then it has to be rested this long in French oak or blah, 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 blah.
That's incredible.
But, like, table wine, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. Some of
Yeah.
the best one I've ever had was a $3 bottle. Literally, $3.
In Italy?
Yeah. It was $3, or, well, 3 or whatever it was. Cheap, but for the bottle. Dumb cheap.
That's
it was
so ridiculous.
magical.
That's so
But
ridiculous.
then I've had some of the expensive wines, which are just as good too. One of my mentors, his name was Russ Russell. He
Russ
was a
Russell.
sommelier.
Okay.
He was incredible. Knew a lot. He actually got to do a blind tasting for a champagne. Didn't know what it was. They're like testing him on it. They're like, oh, we're thinking about selling it for this price. What do you think? He's like, this is incredible. Double it. It's way better than that. You know what the champagne was from?
What?
The Titanic. They rescued it from the fucking Titanic.
Oh my
They
God.
found cases of it and got it, and it was perfect, and it was apparently magical.
Yeah, I can imagine all that pressure and stuff too.
The pressure, those bottles can handle the pressure.
No, that's what I'm saying. But
just
it's probably helps with the
temperature, because
Yeah.
it's at cold enough where it's holding it literally a perfect cellar temperature.
That's
And like,
incredible.
it was apparently the best stuff he's ever had. And he's like, those bottles sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'll never be able to afford that. Never.
No, I mean, the same thing with coffee too. Like, there's some coffees out there
Yeah.
that win like auctions and like these amazing awards. And like honestly, like the Panama Cup of Excellence, they have like typically like the most reputation for like the most expensive coffees ever produced. I think last year it was some ridiculous number of like $25,000 per pound of coffee.
That's
And when you go to these
wild,
auctions, you have to buy the entire lot. You can't just buy
Jesus.
the entire.
So
like, just a bag.
how many pounds are in a lot?
It depends on how big the lot size is. So like you're just buying that entire.
That's
You're buying all of the coffee that was grown for that specific coffee.
That's like as cool as that is. That's why I love
It's not
beer so
accessible.
much.
Yeah,
The best beer in the world, arguably, is $5 for a pint.
it should
on
be.
draft.
It should be.
Arguably,
Yeah.
It's depending on who you talk to. It's the Belgian monks or whoever you want to talk about. You can walk in and buy it for between $5 and $10.
Going back
So,
to beer really quick,
it-
Jeff had some crazy beers.
Oh yeah.
Jeff has a good collection of beer.
Oh, it's insane. Jeff's
Dude, he's a collector. Like, he has shown me so many different beers. Like, speaking of Belgian, that's what triggered this whole conversation. Is like he had a beer from Belgian monks that was unlabeled, and it was like probably an 8-ounce beer.
I bet it was magical.
It was one of the best and like most like it tastes like apricots, like carbonated apricot like juice.
Oh yeah.
It was
And
fucking
I bet there was
phenomenal.
not one apricot added to that.
No, that's the thing
The
is like
magic of yeast.
he's had so many different beers. Like he had a collection from this brewery in Ohio that did, like the 12 Days of Christmas.
Yep, a lot of sours.
Yeah, a lot of sours.
Wild sours.
They're so good, and like I don't. They're cheap. This is what the whole point of the conversation is. Like they're cheap. Like there shouldn't be these ridiculously priced beers because like or even spirits or whatever. It shouldn't be that expensive because like it's gatekeeping.
That's the best part. You could be a billionaire, or you could have $10 in your bank account. You can both enjoy the same beverage.
Yeah,
There is no gatekeeping. It brings people together.
it should.
It really is.
That's what the whole point of it is, yeah.
That's the best part about beer. It's an every person drink.
That's
It
what I like
really
about like bourbon. Like there's like an old saying like when you open up like a bottle of bourbon, you drink that bottle of bourbon like in that setting. Like whether it's like you and like your friend or like your dad or whatever, like, or if it's like you and like a group, like you guys finish the bottle because like it's best enjoyed freshly opened.
Of course.
And like sometimes
liquor can last.
Liquor,
Wine
bro.
is different though. Like you need to drink it.
I mean that's what I'm saying with like red wine and stuff too. Like you can't even like keep it in the fridge for longer than like a couple days once you open it.
Hey,
You're not supposed to.
Fun trick. If you have a vacuum pump it, put it in the fridge. Even if it's red wine, it'll last longer. It slows down the oxidation process.
Yeah, I mean,
But let's be honest, one bottle of wine is 4 glasses. If you're drinking with someone, finish the bottle.
yeah, I was gonna say if you can't finish 4 glasses of wine, I mean, it sounds like a lot, but like it's
But-
ultimately not.
Even with 2 people, that's 2 glasses. That's literally over the course of an hour and a half meal. Very simple.
Eric, what's it like working in beer? Like with your entire life, like what's your experience with that since we're talking about it?
It's fun. I love it. It's one of the best industries. The camaraderie between breweries and just restaurants and hotels. People love beer. It's like I said,
It's everywhere.
It's the everyman drink. Everyone likes it. And like I said, I haven't said this yet, but every person is a beer person. Every day is not a beer day.
Right.
I will find a beer for anyone.
Right.
As long as you don't have allergies, of course, because that changes things. Fun story. It took me 3 years to find one of my best friends a beer.
What was it?
Sidewards. They're NAR. Code.
Yeah,
NAR.
dude, that's a good beer.
So he loves Mountain Dew, and like he'd never found beer. He would drink beer because like whatever, we're all doing it. But he's like, never my cup of tea. You know what the worst part is?
It's a
I didn't fucking find it. I'm still seething because he found it. He's like, this is great. I'm like, fuck you. I've been giving you beer for 3 years, looking for a beer that you like, and I didn't. I'm still heated.
yeah. I mean, that's my thing. Is like I had to get Madeline into beer. Like it took a while, but like she likes like sours. Like when you guys had Pedal Blizzard,
Oh,
that
I
was
miss
a
that
great beer. That was a fantastic.
It's the same thing
beer.
with like anything. When you of age or underage looking for alcohol, the first thing you try, you're not gonna like. The
No.
first beer you had, did you like it? 99% of people, it's a no. First glass of wine you had, did you like it? Absolutely not, unless it was like something sweet, like a Moscato or like a Lambrusco or something like that, where it's sweet, easy. It's the same with beer. The easier, sweeter stuff people like, and then you move on to the bigger, bolder stuff eventually. The Cabernets for the wine, or the IPAs for the beer.
What was your first drink when you were like? What was your first ever alcoholic beverage?
Legal drink, or
I asked what your first drink was.
I don't remember.
I can tell you mine.
I know I had a shot of vodka with my mom when I was like 17, which surprised the hell out of me.
Because like you never would expect like mom and dad to let you like drink, right? Because it's always like a bad thing.
Usually no, they were like, cool. If you're gonna drink, do it here, where you're safe.
That was my friend. That was like my friend's parents growing up. Yeah,
we get it. We did it. You're gonna do it. Just be safe.
That's our thing. Is like their parents. I'm not gonna say who, but like we were growing up and like their.
You ain't no snitch.
I ain't no snitch. Hell no. I saw my mom listen to this being pissed off and be like, you were doing that at that place? So, my first drink ever was whipped cream Smirnoff.
Oh, that's a hangover in a glass.
That shit was terrible. But at the time, like, I had never had alcohol before, so I took, like...
I mean, it was good for that reason, but...
No, not even. I, like, hated it. And, like, I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5.
Hell yeah.
And it was, like, when they had, like, released, like, the down...
That with Coca-Cola was magical, honestly.
No, dude, I drink it straight. Like, we just drink it straight and, like, chasing it with, like, Gatorade and shit. But, like, it was disgusting. We didn't know any better.
Terrible mixing.
Brother, we were, like, 16, 17. Like, give us a break. So, like our funniest thing...
You have a palate. You still taste things.
Nah, I didn't give a shit, dude. I, like, took a shot of that, and I was, like, driving around GTA, and, like, it was, like, when the snow mod came out, so, like...
So you were wasted driving in GTA.
Yeah, hell yeah. And, like, I wasn't wasted. I had, like, 2 shots, and, like, I was, like... I couldn't tell what I was supposed to feel, but, like, I was, like... I feel good. And I didn't really know how to describe it. My friend came down, like, from upstairs, and he was, like... Do you feel it yet? And I was like, do you? And we were both like, hell yeah.
That's amazing.
I think his parents gave us like every shitty liquor that they had in their cabinet that they just were done with. Because we had like Kahlua, fucking what's it called? Malibu, like the Smirnoff flavor line.
My dad gave me a bottle of Di Serono. It was 14 years old.
Oh my god.
It basically turned to straight sugar.
You ever had Popov?
Oh, I know. Oh, yes.
This is the $4 fifth.
Oh.
Have you ever had Seagram 7 whiskey?
Of course.
I used to pound that in the plastic bottle. It was $7.
So, you want to hear something great?
Yes.
I don't know how, when I was like 18, we found a guy that was 21. It was like, oh, cool, I'll buy you whatever. We gave him all of our money because we were like, we want this, this, and that. He's like, cool, I'll buy the cheapest shit and pocket the change. He found us cooking tequila. Did you know that's a thing?
I did not.
Yeah, neither did I. Until then.
You can go blind from drinking that shit, can't you?
I wouldn't be surprised. It was the nastiest stuff. When you're 18, you're like, oh, I have booze. Cool. It doesn't matter. I'm going to drink it. This stuff I didn't drink.
Probably take paint off the wall with that shit, dude.
It would have taken the wall off the wall.
You ever had Everclear?
Oh, we would drive to Georgia to get 191. We'd get the good stuff, not the stuff here in Florida where, 151. Oh.
Dude, no, you don't get the real shit down here. Like in Michigan, you get like 90%.
Yeah, 191.
191. That shit was pure gasoline.
Oh, yeah. We use it for our hunch punch. And our hunch punch was so dangerous, you would have one glass and you're buzzing hard.
You could probably light that thing on fire.
You're not going to... Yes, absolutely. You're not going to remember anything. And it doesn't taste like it. That's what's dumb dangerous.
Yeah, Everclear, like, you would expect it to, like, taste terrible. And by itself, it does. But, like, when you add a little amount of anything to it, like, it immediately becomes, like, very powerful.
You need more than a little. That shit is strong.
I mean, you just get past it. But, yeah, it sucks.
I'm not 19 anymore. I want to enjoy my drinks. I'm not drinking that.
What's another good one? There's Everclear.
Rumplemans.
Yeah, Rumplemans. Oh, my God.
Oh.
What's the other one? Burnett's. You ever had Burnett's? I don't know if that came down here. It's like imagine Smirnoff, but like it's like a stupid step cousin.
I've heard it, but hard pass.
We used to call it Burnasties in Michigan because like that shit was like actually.
I remember the worst beer I've ever had. Now thinking of it.
Yeah.
Iron City.
Oh.
I was 19 when we found it. We got a case of 24. It was $8.
People think Keystone and like hams and all that shit sucks, but like that's worse.
You know what we did with it? We would bring it to a house party, and I would leave it because I didn't want it in my house.
Yeah.
So I would leave it and drink their beer.
Yeah, I mean that's funny as fuck though because like I remember showing up to parties.
Ugh.
I remember showing up to parties in college and like they'd be like BYOB and I'm like okay cool I'm gonna bring hams and everyone's like you're gonna bring hams and I was like yeah that way I knew nobody was gonna drink my beer. Because like
No, I wouldn't touch
Hams
that.
is
Yeah.
like, I think it's like $9-10 for a 30 rack.
Yep.
And it's
See, that's how I know
that's
you're not from Florida
ridiculous.
talking about 30 racks.
Yeah, 30 racks are like a big thing.
Oh,
like up in
when I
Michigan.
lived in New York, they had 30s. I'm like, this is a thing? It was magical.
Yeah, you can build a castle out of them, build a suit of armor out of it.
That was cool.
What's your favorite shitty beer? I like Keystone.
Miller High Life.
Miller High Life is a shitty beer, but it's not the worst. Like we're talking about like bottom of the barrel. Like,
when I was underage and what I could get was Keystone. I don't like Keystone because I drink too
you
much.
like Natural Ice?
I don't like any of them because whatever I could get was what I was drinking.
Natural Ice is like cheating though. It's like drinking water.
No,
It tastes just like water with like a drop of beer.
I would rather drink water and
not
pretend
saying,
to be drunk.
I'm not.
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you though.
Pretend to be drunk. That's
Yes.
fucking hilarious.
Absolutely not.
How did you two meet? You want to answer that? Do you remember? I mean, it was
The
Hourglass.
first day, it was probably at Hourglass.
Yeah, the first day we ever met was Hourglass. But like,
I
do you
don't remember it very well.
My wife and I came in and like we went and talked to you because like she was trying to get some contact information for something. I think it was like a donation, and like you were like the only person that was like there consistently when I showed up. Because the first person I met at Hourglass was Dylan, and then Grant. Funny enough, and Grant and I got along really, really well, so I went to go visit those two all the time. And I remember showing up on a day that Dylan was normally there, and you were there, and I was like, "I'll talk to this guy." And
He looks all right.
yeah, I was like, "I can get with this dude. He's cool. He's cool."
Sometimes.
Yeah. So Eric and I mean, goddamn, how many years is that? It's probably like 4
I've
or
been
5.
at Hourglass for 4.
Yeah, I think
I
maybe for the
started
full
as
4.
a super part. I was an oopsie hire.
Yeah.
So I started. when I got hired, they hired 2 people for a one full-time job, and they're like, "Shit, we already we scheduled your interview. We'll hire you too because we like you." So they're like, "We can give you 1 day a week, maybe." I'm like, "That's fine. I have another full-time job." I was working another job at another restaurant. It was a weird place because they're like, if you bartend, you have to open close, so you're working 12-hour days.
Ooh,
so I worked
that's brutal. On
3
service, too.
12-hour days. It was cool because I would work a full-time week in 3 days, but I'm dumb and expensive. So when I'm left to my own demise, aka 4 days a week off, I'm expensive and I spend too much money. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get another job just to have less free time.
I mean, that was my thing too, dude. Like working like, remember working like full time while I was in school, like in college, and that shit was brutal. Like I was like, I had 17 credit hours every semester I was in college.
Jesus.
And I was working like 40, 45, 50 hours a week.
So what you're saying is you had no social life and you didn't sleep.
What's new? You know, that's all I've known.
Fair.
That's all I've known. So like, that's the thing is like, I don't understand like how people, you know, are like, I need my free time to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, bro, there's plenty of time in your life to have free time. Like, get hustling when you're younger. Like, you gotta get that shit up. You know what I mean? Because like, if you don't learn the value of like hard work early, like it's difficult to like get that built into your brain when you're older.
One of the best things is take a chance, take a risk.
Yeah, I mean, when you're my age and you're young, you can do that shit.
If you go broke at 25, it's fine. You still have time to fix it.
Yeah.
If you go broke at 35, you're still young enough to have time and fix it.
Yeah.
Like, make a mistake. We only have one life to live. You gotta, enjoy it and try to do what you can.
Where can you find Florida Man Brewing on tap and in cans?
On tap is difficult because it changes very frequently.
Yeah.
I know Bella Italia over in Windermere has the 1 pint in Bangkok currently.
There's literally one right over here.
Double Wide Trailer, our double West Coast IPA, will be always on draft at City Works in Disney Springs.
Crazy.
The Key Lime is on tap it jumps around. We've been in a bunch of different, like 100 places.
Jesus Christ, dude.
It changes a lot. So you can get the Double Wide Trailer and the Keys in the Bowl cans at any Total Wine. A couple ABCs have them, like the Windermere, the Ocoee one. The Keys in the Bowl, the Key Lime Wit, will be in every single Trader Joe's in the state, which is pretty awesome.
That's really cool.
Shout out to them. They're crushing it. They're buying a lot, which is fantastic. And the Peep one is not released yet. I don't know who's going to be buying it yet, but on our website, we have a pretty good list of who bought it, and it updates it pretty frequently. The only problem is when people run out, they don't tell us they run out, because a lot of places with beer, they like to rotate, so they'll buy a couple kegs, then move on to something else.
Right.
So it just depends.
Just keep your eyes out, and like any store that Eric named, like definitely go over there and check it out. Like I've had to look at my local ABC a couple times and like see if I can find it, and like it usually it's sold out So they are pretty big movers.
We're trying.
Yeah, you guys move a lot of beer, and you guys move a lot of beer in a lot of different places, which is like really, really cool.
It's been fun. It's been a very fun adventure.
Yeah, no, I'm proud of you, dude. Like, honestly, it's not easy. What do you do for fun, Eric? I mean, other than play RuneScape, like, what do you do for fun?
Wait, you can have fun doing other things besides RuneScape?
If you can, I have yet to hear about it, because RuneScape is fantastic.
It's the best game in the world, man.
It's timeless. RuneScape Classic specifically. RuneScape 3 is okay. But
no, RuneScape 3 is a joke. RuneScape Classic, the old school, is the only game.
So tell me about RuneScape. Let's talk RuneScape for a second. Let's talk video games. What do you like to because you play Iron Man, right? Like
the group Iron Man, yeah.
Yeah. So like, what's your role, other than like the tank of everything?
So it's not really a role. It's kind of like you do everything. If you want something, you got to go grind and get it yourself. There's no like, I'll just go buy it. There's none of that. So it's very gratifying when you actually get something cool.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, you guys, like, some pretty crazy shit you showed me, and you had, like, a decimal percentage chance of getting this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, how the fuck? How many days does it take?
I got real lucky.
You see, like, your days played in that?
Yes, I don't want to look at it right now.
Yeah, not right now, but I'm saying, like, do you know off the top of your head, like, how many days or, like, months you have in that game, in total gameplay?
More than I probably want to admit.
Can I tell you, like, when I played, you remember Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2?
Of course, it was a great game. Love that game.
When I was, like, a middle school, high school kid, I used to play that game so much. At one point, I had, like, 9 months of gameplay in that game.
That's cute.
I know. It's a very good beginning point for some people.
Look it up.
You're gonna look up your RuneScape thing right now? It's like, I remember playing, like, Skyrim when I was a kid, or, like Fallout, and, like, I remember having, like probably, like, 300, 400, 500 hours in these games. And then comes up Pokemon, like, on the DS, and I caught all of them in every game that I played.
So you had to be a master.
Exactly, bro. How am I supposed to be the master of them if I don't catch them all? I remember having, like, probably in Pokemon, like, 1,000 hours in Pokemon Red.
That's pretty impressive, man.
I don't know if it's impressive. I think it's when you're a kid, there's not much else to do.
Oh, shit.
How many days? How many months?
122 days, 17 hours.
122 days, so that's like a fiscal quarter.
This account is a little less than 3 years old.
That's ridiculous.
Or a little over 3 or something like that.
So you have about 4 months, give or take.
Yeah.
In gameplay.
Yeah.
That's great.
If you know, you know, though. It's a very grindy game, so there's a lot of AFK stuff you can do.
The grind does require you to, like, be on that bitch all the time.
There's AFK stuff. It makes it easier. It's, you know, it's fun. Like, I AFK'd for a few hours at work today because I was slow enough. I tap it once every 10 minutes.
You worked at Argos?
Yeah. You know, have it grinding, do a little mining.
Oh yeah, like AFK shit. Yeah.
AFK.
It's not like
tap it once every 10 minutes.
It's not a very demanding game.
It can be, and it also cannot be.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're grinding for like Runestone or like fucking
Runestone,
whatever it's called, bro. Don't correct me on some RuneScape elitist shit.
Whoa, it's not elitist.
You don't play a lot of Pokemon, but you know Pokemon.
Oh, of course. I love the original. I watched all the shows when I was a kid. I have all my collected cards still.
Yeah, you and I both. I was gonna say that's why I brought it up, is because I have all those cards in the living room. I don't know if you saw them or not, but like,
did not.
We have 4,703 cards, and we.
Did you count them?
Yeah, I have a portfolio of them on my phone that counts all of them.
Is that counting your like energy?
It counts all my energy, all my trainers, all my Pokemon.
Jeez, good for you. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Pokemon cards for me, like we talked about this in the first episode a little bit, but like I play a lot of fucking Pokemon cards on my computer, because like the trading game it moves a little faster than playing in person for me. I'm also not very good at like deciphering like what's happening in person, whereas like a computer kind of like shows you what's happening. Yeah. It doesn't tell you what to do, but it tells you like what's happening. So like you can see like the reasoning behind everything. Like get familiar with certain cards, and sometimes people have like different cards I don't know.
That makes
in
sense.
person.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, I fucking love Pokemon trading cards. And like,
never played the game.
It's fun.
The card game. I played the app game. That was a fun game.
Oh, Pokemon Go.
That was when the world was a better place.
Yeah, Pokemon Go.
Yeah,
it was like
2016.
Yeah, 2016, 17.
I remember seeing hundreds of people being like running over to a place, and people like, "What's going on? Is something bad?" And you're like, "No, there's a Charmander spawn over here." Yeah. And literally, people were running like by the Ultimate Mall around the water behind it.
Yeah.
Guess what? There's a Magikarp spawn. You best believe I walked many miles around that bitch.
Bro,
getting some Magikarps.
That game came out when I was in college. So like it was my freshman year of college. It came out 2016, 2017. I believe it was like the peak of it. We would just get fucked
The
up
world was
and
a
go
great
walk around
place
campus.
then. There was no problems.
Yeah.
People walked more. People got out more. People actually talked to other people.
People were
and
like
got
actually
along.
going outside.
Oh, yeah,
it was
great.
it was amazing.
They did a thing. It was amazing. It was. You go out to weird places. Like I lived at the time over in Williamsburg, right by like iDrive and SeaWorld.
Yeah.
I would literally park my vehicle next to Ripley's Believe It or Not. If you parked in a perfect spot, there was 3 different like spinny spawns
Yeah.
that you could catch, and they always had lures on it, so there was always shit popping up. I would literally be in my vehicle jamming out to some music, probably some 90s rock, because you know I'm a dad apparently, and
Allegedly.
catching all the Pokemon.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I used to love walking around. And, like, I remember like I was working at a job one time, and like back home where I'm from, in the meat department, and I was fucking cutting up chicken for a couple hours, and all of a sudden like everybody in the entire staff comes running back in the cooler, and they're like, "There's a Bulbasaur right where you're standing," and I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "You better get it."
You worked in the meat department? I didn't know that.
That was my first job. That was like my
No
first like
shit.
W-2 job. Was working in the meat
No
department.
shit.
Yeah.
What was your first non-W2 job?
My first non-W2 job was detailing cars, and I did that when I was like 12 up until I was about 16.
That's fair.
Yeah. So we had I've always been like an entrepreneur, quote unquote. Like I've always just done like found ways to make money on
course.
like literally like having like no skills.
Gotta
or, like,
hustle,
no time.
man. If you
yeah.
want something, you gotta go get it.
Yeah. What was your first job?
W2 or not?
W-2.
I was a cold caller.
Oh,
Allstate Insurance.
brutal. Like it's like a call center.
No, it was a local Allstate. He hired 2 high school kids, and I was there for about a month before I'm like, this is miserable. I can't do this.
I worked for a State Farm.
So
for a
he
while,
printed
doing the
out
same thing.
a few thousand phone numbers. I'd go call it. Someone answered. I'd go through the spiel of, hey, do you have insurance for a car? Are you happy? Do you want a quote? They said yes. Like, cool. Let me transfer you to the guy. If not,
Oh, you
yeah,
weren't
sure.
even like the guy. You were
no.
just a middleman.
I was just getting them to say yes to transfer him to the guy to actually say yes.
to the agent. Yeah.
I realized it was bad when probably a 10-year-old cursed me out and then hung up the phone. I'm like, man, this is
It's brutal.
not for me.
My
It was
first job,
hard.
like with that experience, I worked for State Farm in Ann Arbor when I was in Michigan, like an internship with college, and that was fucking terrible, dude. Like, oh my god, every day I was like, if this is the rest of my life, like I'm killing myself, like before I turn 40.
I did it for a month. Then guess what I found?
But
I went into restaurants.
yeah,
Gators Dockside. I was a bus boy and a food runner.
yeah, and you were like how old? That like 18, 16? Like
I was
17?
18.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
had other jobs when I was younger. Like I worked for a cleaning company before, like no W-2s and stuff like that.
Yeah, just like
Like-
cash only.
Yeah, we did this car wash scheme.
Yeah. I picked pumpkins with my dad's friend for a while because, like, or not my dad's friend, my friend's dad, and he had like a farm, so we would go out and pick like
Oh, cool.
pumpkins during like the season or like
Nice.
soybeans and shit. And I was like, man, I have a lot of respect for people that go out there and like harvest and like
It's
that's
hard
their
work,
job.
man.
It's
hard
difficult,
work.
dude.
Oh yeah, and they get paid like not per hour. They get paid per pound.
Yeah,
So like they get those man.
It's not a
they're
lot per pound.
Fast, but they're so fast. Like watching the people like going back to the grapes at the winery.
yeah,
It was like a work of art. Like
Yeah,
they were
dude.
so efficient and fast, and like their hands were so dexterous, and they were so it was impressive.
I'm just like, how the fuck do you like pick up this much weight and just throw, like people with coffee, right? Like they'll take like 150-pound sacks and just throw them over their shoulder and like walk against nothing.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't seem like a lot, but like when you start trying to like deadlift like just dead weight of 150
It's-
pounds,
It's dead weight.
it's
heavy.
really fucking heavy. Like when
Yeah.
you're trying to pick it up and like haul it over your shoulder.
Oh yeah.
So I have a lot of respect for people that work in like manual labor and stuff like that. But like I think
Same. I've done my fair share.
my
between
W-2
construction,
job, going back to
roofing.
the butchers or whatever, the meat department, Jesus Christ, I was just cutting chicken slabs of beef on like a beef on like a belt saw and like pork. Like I'd be the guy that shut it down every night. So like the I think it was like 7 o'clock the meat department would close. I was the guy that got everything. Just, like, it'd spray all the walls, spray all the floors,
Clean
spray
everything, basically.
absolutely everything.
Get all the blood
4
off of
times.
everything?
Huh?
Get all the blood off everything.
Blood, guts, fucking throw everything away, package everything that needed to be put out for the rest of the night, spray everything down like 4 fucking times, let it dry, squeegee, like
Do it again.
and then do it again at like 6 a.m. the next day.
Yep.
I worked doubles like when I was like doing that. Yeah, I was in high school.
Oof.
Yeah, like on the weekends I'd just be working like crazy hours, like doing like 14, 12-hour days.
I've never done that.
In a meat department, no, it's not great.
Hey,
You're sitting in a fucking cooler all day, dude.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's cold.
My first boss would bring in like a coffee with a whiskey with a little bit of coffee in it, and he would just drink it out of a thermos all day. And like halfway through the shift, he'd just go over to like have his lunch at the bar. I mean, probably he went to the bar and he would like go and play Keno for fucking like 45 to an hour and come back and like, I just hit $3,000 on Keno. I'm like, Chris, how long have you been playing Keno to hit $4,000 or $3,000 on Keno? He's like, probably like 4 years. And I was like, Jesus Christ, dude.
So what you're saying is you're down.
Yeah, you're down a couple. You got even.
Speaking of down, how about that in crypto markets?
The crypto market. Yeah, you in Butthole Coin?
No.
You're not.
No, nor am I in Pepe.
I'm not in Pepe. I'm not in Trump Coin.
Absolutely not.
Melania Coin. There's some more. There's like Penis Grow is a coin.
Penis. There's a beer coin too, apparently.
I can believe it. There's Bong Coin.
Yeah,
I'm not in any of the shit coins, but like Ethereum, Bitcoin, Dogecoin is I guess being more
also a
serious
joke.
now. Yeah, it started off as a joke.
It's still making you money.
Yeah, and not me.
It's still a joke, but
I pulled out a Dogecoin. We talked about that in episode 2 a little bit. I'm
pull out Game of Strong.
Oh, something like that. I don't know. With crypto is weak because evidently I did not pull out at the best time. But crypto's crazy because like it's so like volatile. You know what I mean?
That's
like
the fun part.
It is fun. It's like gambling. You and I both like gambling.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No way. I'm playing Plinko ball on fucking blackjack. So, yeah, I mean, I like gambling. Gambling doesn't like me. Like,
oh yeah, as long as you realize this is a leisure activity where I don't expect to make money.
Right.
I can see how it's very easily addictable.
When you hit on like blackjack, it feels good.
Addictive, whatever it's called.
Addictive, whatever.
Yeah, new word.
Like George Bush over here. Nuclear.
Nuclear is a real word.
Nuclear.
It's a real word.
Yeah, nuclear is not nuclear.
He's saying it right. I don't know.
You had a bunch of those mannerisms. You should look it up.
Oh, thanks, man.
The George Bush specials on YouTube. You know, so I don't know, man. Like when I was on my cruise, like when I was playing blackjack, I went with like $50. It was $5 a hand, and I was like, I'll sit down until this $50 is either gone.
Oh, 5 minutes.
Literally less than 5 minutes, and my money was gone. I was like, what the fuck? And I got up and like just shook the dealer's hand. I was like, you kick my ass, and she was like, yeah, no, I mean like
the problem is the house always wins.
The house always fucking wins.
And they have new ways to make it look like you have a better chance, but they'll do like blackjack, cool, 8-card decks.
Yeah.
You can't count cards in those.
No.
And like you can't even like there's certain styles and stuff you can do. It doesn't do anything. The dealer always will win eventually. Sure, there's certain games like blackjack and roulette occasionally if you know what you're doing.
Roulette's difficult.
You have a better chance of winning. Still, at the end of the day, the house will always win.
I mean, roulette is like one of those things where you can just count and see how many times the ball is hitting certain numbers. Like it's less likely to hit those numbers, but it's still luck.
It's not. That's the problem. That's a fallacy. It's not less likely to hit the same number.
It's got the same odds every time.
It could hit the same number 500 times in a row. It's the same odds of doing it.
I get it.
And that's the problem. Is like, oh, it hit red 5 times in a row. It's gonna hit black. That's a fallacy. There is no extra bonus to that. There is nothing. It has the same odds of hitting red as it does black, and as it does green at the beginning of every turn.
Yeah, craps.
I don't understand craps.
My father-in-law tried teaching me how to play craps once in Las Vegas a couple years ago, and it did not. He spent a lot of money. I didn't learn a damn thing. Like, I did not pick up a damn thing that he was telling me. I was given. I was trying to learn to play craps like at 3 a.m.
I've watched it. It's fun. People are screaming. I have no what I'm doing. I'm screaming because, you know, it's mentality, group mentality. We're like, oh my god, let's fucking cheer. Someone's screaming, they're winning. Let's fucking cheer them on. Let's go.
Making money is always a good feeling.
Oh yeah, of course. Free money.
I think you're trying not to hit 7 or 11, or else the table gets wiped. But I think you can keep betting on other numbers. But I guess I'm not sure. There's plenty of people that could tell you more about that.
I don't know. It's not my thing.
Yeah, no, I don't like craps. Do you like baccarat?
Don't understand it.
Baccarat is so fun.
I'm a
dude.
basic
It's
man.
So
I know a few games, and I'm like, I don't need to know anything else.
Baccarat is crazy. That's a whole nother story.
I've seen people scream at it.
Again, it's one of those things you're like, when you're up, and like the whole table is winning, but like Baccarat is like fucking fast paced. There's so many rules to it.
That makes me feel like I'm way easier to lose.
It is 100% like set up to like take
why
your
I would
money.
never want to play that game.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm a risk adverse person to a point.
Yeah.
Ish. I mean, I'm still dumb and do dumb things.
Yeah, I mean we all do.
But,
like I play with stocks, and like that's probably playing with your money is like one of it's not playing with your money, but like if you play games with your money, right? Like gambling, stocks, fucking anything you're putting money towards, like it can be addictive because like when you're up, you feel really good.
Winning makes anyone feel good.
Yeah, exactly. Like winning makes anyone feel good, and like when it's instant, and then you're like, I can do it again, or like, you know what I mean? Like it's dangerous. But like I play with stocks, and like I've been burned more times than I can count on stocks. But I've definitely made some money on stocks too. Where like, it comes back, and I would say I'm about even. Like I'm not like at a point where I've like lost a bunch of money, but at the same time I've lost money over periods of time, and it's taken a longer time for me to gain any money back.
Well, I learned about the whole rush about all that because of crypto.
Yeah.
In 2009, I was mining Bitcoin.
Jesus Christ.
I had about 5 Bitcoin on my computer. That computer got thrown away. I don't have any access to it. It's gone. It's gone forever.
That's before the cloud too.
Oh yeah, it was on one of those like paper wallets on your computer, your store or whatever. I'm like, at the time, this was pennies. It doesn't mean anything. It's gone. My computer
like 50 cents at the time. Yeah.
Not even that. My computer got a virus. I threw it away because I couldn't do anything. Whatever, moved on. It's $500,000. Sucks. Is what it is. Then 2016, my buddy reintroduced me to like some of the altcoins, like Tron.
Tron,
like,
oh
holy
my
shit!
God.
I put a couple $100 in. I'm like, oh my god! I 5 times it to make $2,000 almost.
Right.
Like, I'm a genius. I'm a god. I can do whatever I want. I'm gonna be a millionaire before I know it. I'm gonna quit all my jobs. I got this. Guess what? 4 days later, it was gone.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
I learned a very valuable lesson that day. Between that and scams on RuneScape, no one's gonna get me now.
You're untouchable.
Untouchable.
You're untouchable. I mean, I remember when I made a bunch of money in Dogecoin, I put like all my money in it, like, and it's been like 2 weeks and went up like we went from like 4 digits to like almost tripled or 5-6 digits and like
I believe it
in like a span of like 2 weeks. And I remember like
freaking
always being on my fucking phone, just watching it. Because like I would lose like $1,000 a minute, or I'd gain $1,000 a minute, back and forth for like this span of like.
You should have pulled out.
I did pull out, but I didn't pull out at the top. And like hindsight's a bitch because like when it starts dipping, it's crazy because you're like, well, surely like it's gonna bounce because it's so volatile. But like with crypto in 2000, I want to say 2021, 22, it must have been 2022. It literally dipped so hard that it drilled for like 2 days straight.
Oh yeah.
And I lost like $50,000 in like potential gains in just fucking
2019
3 days.
Bitcoin dropped to a record low of like $5,000.
Yeah.
Or was it?
I think it was about 4 or 5.
It was either 4 or 5 grand, something like that. Now it's sitting at 110 or something like that.
105, 100 something like that.
5 years. Imagine.
No,
Ethereum was at the time was like $60.
Crypto, like in the long run, is always a good idea, but like, especially nowadays,
hindsight.
Like, it's crazy. Like, it's El Salvador, the country of El Salvador. Did you know about this?
Yeah,
their government converted all of their cash into Bitcoin, so the national currency is now Bitcoin.
They made a lot of money doing it.
They're fucking set right now. Like, they are so good.
It's good for the whole crypto game because like you need that stuff to people to accept it to make it, more accessible. More people using it. More people should be able to use it as currency.
I mean, America's trying to do the same thing right now. They're talking about having government reserves for like, oh my god, what crypto is it? I think it's Bitcoin.
Yeah, probably.
No, it's altcoins. It's one of the altcoins. It might be XRP. It might be XRP or something like that. I'm not sure, but like I know XRP is fucking killing it, dude.
Please be Stellar.
Stellar would be amazing.
I'm a big fan of that.
Litecoin would be great. Litecoin was a good idea back in the day. I really think that like crypto as a whole has just like defined a generation of people like investing.
Oh yeah, it's the whole. I mean, the world's changed so much.
It's
changing
evolving
every
so
10 years. dumb.
It's evolving so fast, specifically because like everyone's finding new ways, like for example, Pokemon cards to make money.
Yep.
Like digitally making money.
Then it's more than that. The nostalgia of opening a pack and trying to find a card. Same with like baseball cards, or football cards, or Pokemon cards, or Magic the Gathering, the collectible card game. Whatever.
Dude, yeah, I was gonna say Pokemon, like trading card game is very similar to Magic.
Yeah.
Like they're almost like 1-to-1.
It looks fun. I've never played it. I've seen it. Some of my friends play it. It looks entertaining.
Magic is really cool. It's just there's a lot of depth in Magic.
The problem is I feel like people go like find these meta things where like, oh, I'm gonna build a perfect deck, and that takes away the fun of it.
Yeah, like you go online, like search shit. We talked about that in episode
You're like,
1.
Oh, I find this perfect card where I'm gonna beat anyone always. That takes the fun of.
It's like, what the hell are you playing this game for? Yeah, exactly.
I like the idea
if you just
of a game
win all
with
the
equal
time.
chances of both sides winning.
I like building decks. I think that's like the fun part for me is like in those games, like just building the decks themselves.
Oh yeah, I can see that. But if you go too meta, I feel like it's
annoying.
It takes away the fun of the game because like if you have two equally
unique,
talented people, they should have equally chances on it.
I mean, that's how most like the Pokemon games that I play are. Because like the first episode, Madeline talks about like how much fucking Pokemon cards I play, and like I'm nationally ranked on that shit.
You're nationally ranked?
Yeah.
Oh
and, like,
shit! What rank are you?
I had to look. I haven't played in like 2.
Look it up. I want to see that.
I'll look it up after the podcast, but it crashed the app if I pulled it up right now. I'm not even capping. I just don't know. I think I'm probably like it's a low number. I think I'm like 1,400 in the world.
In the world, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, something like that. But like,
I didn't realize I was in
the presence of royalty.
Presence of royalty, yeah. Like, damn, kid.
Yeah, dude. But I remember the whole point of me saying this is like I like playing the ranked games because people have more original decks than playing like casual.
Fair.
Because casual, everybody is just fucking sitting there plugging and chugging the same like Charizard deck, and like I can tell what they're gonna do before they even like lay out all their cards. And I'm like, it's just so predictable.
They follow the YouTube or the calculator where it shows.
They went to fucking ChatGPT and they said, what are the most popular fucking
Yeah.
Pokemon decks in the game? And they just pull up a list and they just copy paste the deck list into their fucking format and they just use it.
That takes away the fun of the game. I like when it's the same. Say, like, I think it'd be better if it was the same deck for each person.
I would agree.
Or something like that, where it takes away the fun of the building, but it adds the enjoyment of the
competition.
The competition,
and, like,
exactly.
the draw and like the luck of the draw.
Yeah, it makes it a little more
said.
fair where like you have to either have skill and actually know how to play the deck to actually use it to your advantage.
I mean, that's what it should be, but like most of the time in online games like that, it's usually pay to win. Because like, oops, it's okay. I don't think there's any beer in it. Well, we've shot enough shit tonight. I think that pretty much covers all the bases that we needed to cover. Eric just spilled beer everywhere, so we're going to go ahead and clean this up, and we're going to say goodbye to everyone.
Sorry, I made a rookie mistake.
It's okay. You made a party foul. But Eric, thank you for coming by, brother. I appreciate you hanging out.
I really appreciate you having us. Me. There's only me. Sorry. But yeah. I appreciate it. It's been a really good time.
It's good having you out, man. I love hanging out with you. So.
Amen, brother.
All right. On that note, I'll see you guys in the next episode, and stay lovely, yeah.